Hello everyone, myself Dr. Sonam Gupta, working as a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Today I am going to discuss a complex topic in software engineering and software project management, that is planning of activities. So first we should know that what is activity planning, planning of activities, or we can also say it to be scheduling. So scheduling, it is an important part of project planning activity, and it involves deciding which task will be done when. So if our activity planning is proper, so that we can easily decide that what part need to be completed, what are the modules that need to be delivered. So all these tasks will be done if the activity is properly planned. Now, why we require the scheduling? So the majority of the projects, they are completed late, if at all. A project schedule, it is required to ensure that the required project commitments are met, and a schedule is required to track the progress towards achieving these commitments. So for there, scheduling plays an important role, because we need to identify how much modules need to be delivered, what are the tasks that needs to be completed within a particular time frame, how these tasks are going to be done, and all these things will be decided if the scheduling is done. Now, next question is, we are saying that the modules will be delivered late. Now, what are the challenges, or what are the factors on the basis of which the software is delivered late? First one, it is the unrealistic deadline. If the deadline, it is unrealistic in nature, then also it will be delivered late. Changing but unpredictable customer requirements. The customer is not sure about its requirement and it's changing its requirements continuously. Underestimation of efforts which are required. Risks are not considered at the start of the project. Unforeseen technical difficulties. Unforeseen human difficulties. Miscommunication among the project staff, and failure to recognize that the project is falling behind the schedule. So these are the few key factors on the basis of which, if any of the factor will occur, then the project will be delivered late. So for all these things, these points need to be considered. Now for the project scheduling, all technical projects, they involve various small tasks, and some tasks are such that if they are completed late, then they will not be affecting the completion of the project. Whereas some other tasks are there which are critical for the project completion, that is, they are required to complete the project anyhow. If these tasks are not completed, then they are going to affect the project deadly. To schedule the project, there must be a project manager, and what the project manager must do, the project manager, it must define all the project tasks. They should build a network that will depict the interdependency. Identify the critical tasks. Critical tasks are all the tasks on the basis of which, if any of the task is not done at that particular time frame, then it is going to affect all of the project. And then the project manager is also required to track the progress of these tasks. So these are the few key points that the project manager needs to do. Now there are different perspectives to view the scheduling. First one, it can be seen as the end date for the completion, it has been finalized, or we can say it is only a rough time frame it is given, that approximately this much time period the module will be delivered. Now there are various basic principles for this. First one, it is compartmentalization. That is, compartmentalization means defining of the distinct tasks which will be there in the project. Interdependency will identify the parallel or sequential task. Time allocation, that means the assigned person dates, the starting time, ending time, and all these things will come under time allocation. Effort validation, be sure that the resources are available. The responsibilities must be defined. People must be assigned according to the responsibilities, and they must be very much aware of their responsibility. Defined outcomes, every task must have an output. And finally, the defined milestone, which will be reviewed for the quality purposes. Compartmentalization, the project must be compartmentalized into various manageable activities, actions and tasks, and both the product and the processes are decomposed in it. Next one was interdependency. The interdependency of each compartmentalized activity, action or task, it must be determined. Some tasks, it must occur in sequence, whereas there must be other tasks which will occur in parallel. Some action or activities, they cannot commence until the work product is produced by another, it is available. Time allocation. Now each task which is scheduled, it must be allocated some amount of work unit. In addition to this, each task must have a start date and a completion date, and these are the functions of interdependencies. Now the start and the stop dates, they must be established whether the work will be conducted full term or part time. So based on this, it will be identified. Effort validation. Every project, it has a defined number of people on the team. As the time allocation occurs, the project manager must ensure that no more than allocated number of people has been scheduled at any given point of time. Next one was defined responsibilities. So every task is scheduled to be assigned to a specific team member. Defined outcomes. Every task which is scheduled, it must have a defined outcome for the software projects such as the work product or a part of the work product. Now work products, they are combined in the deliverables. There must be a defined milestone. Every task or the group of tasks which are associated with the project milestone. A milestone, it is accomplished when one or more work products have been reviewed for the quality and they have been approved as well. Now, relationship between people and the effort. So, if we fall behind the schedule, we can always add more programmers and catch up to the late in the project. This thinking must be stopped. This has a disruptive effect on the project, and the schedule slips will more even further. Now, what is the relationship between people and the effort? The relationship between the number of people working in the software project and the overall productivity, it is not linear. Now, fewer people and longer time period, it is a better option for a software development if the time is not a constraint. Now, to make the schedule, we have various tasks that need to be identified. Identify all the tasks which are needed to be completed in the project. Break down the task into smaller activities. Determine the dependency among different activities. Establish estimates for the time durations to complete those activities. Allocate the resources to the activities. Plan starting and ending dates for the activities. And then finally determine the critical path. Now, the first step which is involved in identifying all the tasks is necessary to complete the project, and this can be done when the manager has the good knowledge about the project and the development process which is going to be followed. The next step is that we need to break down the large task into smaller pieces, and smaller activities, it will be assigned to different developers. The work breakdown structure, it will help the managers to do it systematically. Now, when the larger tasks are broken down into smaller activities, a WBS, which is a work breakdown structure, will be generated, and then the manager has to find the dependencies among the activities. What will be the advantage of identifying the dependencies? The dependencies will determine the order in which the different activities will be carried out. Like, for example, if an activity A requires the results of activity B, that means A must be scheduled after B. Now, once this network representation has been done, then the resources are allocated to those activities, and resource allocation, it is done by using generally by Gantt chart. Now, after resource allocation, PERT, which is program evaluation and review technique, chart representation, it will be developed. Now, PERT, it is suitable for project monitoring and control. The time frame when each activity has to be performed is also needs to be determined. And the end of every activity is known as a milestone. Now, if the project manager observes that the milestones are delayed, then he has to take certain measures so that the overall deadline it is not affected. Now, we have discussed work breakdown structure. Let's see it in detail. It is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of the work to be carried out by the project to accomplish the project objectives and then create the required deliverable. Now, WBS, it is used to decompose a given task set recursively into smaller activities. It provides a notation for representing the major task which needs to be carried out. The root of the tree, it is labeled by the problem name. Each node of the tree, it is broken down into smaller activities, and each activity, it is recursively decomposed into smaller sub-activities until the leaf level, and the activities require approximately 2 weeks to develop. Now, this is the WBS. We are having a project. Upper part, it is WBS level 1, and from there, the components will be decided like hardware, software, system engineering, project management, system testing, data management. All these tasks will be identified, and these tasks will be numbered according to the level. So, first level it was project, second level all these components, and numbering will be 1.1, 1.2 similarly. Further, these will be divided into level 3, level 4, level 5 till we get to the leaf node. So, this is how the project manager will be building a WBS structure, and by this structure they can easily come to know the dependencies between each of the module, which module is typical and which module is dependent on the other module. So, a work breakdown structure, it is a fundamental project management technique for defining and organizing the total scope of a project using a hierarchical tree structure. Now, the first two levels which are there, the root node and the level 2, they defined a planned outcome that will collectively and exclusively represent 100% of the project scope. And each subsequent level, the children of a parent node, it collectively and exclusively will represent 100% of the scope of their parent node. Now, a well-designed WBS, it will describe planned outcomes instead of planned actions. Now, outcomes, they are the desired ends of the project and it can be predicted accurately. Actions of the project plan, and it will be difficult to predict accurately, and a project plan, it will be difficult to predict accurately. The well-defined WBS will make it much easier to identify all the tasks. Now, when completed, each WBS element, it should have the 4 items. What are the 4 items that it should have? It must have the scope of work, including the deliverables which will be delivering. Next is beginning and end dates for the scope of the work. Third, budget for the scope of the work. And finally, the name of the person responsible for the scope of the work. So, here if we see, we had taken care of each and everything, the time period, the time constraint, the budget constraint, person constraint, the deliverable that we will be delivering. So, each of these activities will be very easily identified using this WBS. Now, this is a simple WBS for a MIS application, Management Information System application. So, we are having a MIS application at level 1. It is further divided into level 2. So, requirement specification, design, code, testing, documentation, it will come at the level 2. And when further, this designing is divided into various levels, that is level 3 for it. The database part, GUI part. Similarly, the code is divided further into two parts, the database part and the GUI part. Now, WBS levels and the numberings. So, this needs to be identified. Level 0, it is the project itself, the numbering, the project itself, name of the project itself, it is the level 0. Major deliverables, the major components, these are level 1. Now, next is what is level 2? Level 2 is further classification of the deliverable that was mentioned in level 1. So, level 2, it is individual components of each deliverable. And the final level, it is the work package that will be delivered. So, this is the numbering part. So, at 1.0 project itself further divided into 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Now, if 1.2 is to be divided, it will be 1.2.1, 0.2, 0.3. If this is to be subdivided, then 1.2.3 will be as it is, 0.1, 0.2. So, this is the work packages of the individual project activities, and these are the sub-deliverables. Yellow part, these are the deliverables for the major project components. And what is the pink part? It is the project, it is the overall project which is under development. Now, there are various types of WBS. First one, it is web-oriented WBS, or we can say project-based or task-oriented. So, a task-oriented WBS, it defines the deliverable of the project work in terms of the actions that must be done to produce the deliverable. And the first one, it should be a verb like a design, develop, optimize, transfer, test. So, that should be the case. Next is the noun-oriented. So, it is in terms of the components like physical or the functional that make up the deliverable. In this first case, the first word in a given WBS element, it is a noun like module A, like mentioned here, module 1, 2, 3 or module A. Name of the module, it can be a noun. Since nouns, they are usually part of the product. So, it is also known as PBS, which is product breakdown structure. So, here we have seen how these modules are divided. What is the requirement of this WBS, PBS? Because now what will happen, if I am making a WBS of a ERP system, modules are divided, basic packages are known. The major deliverables are 1.0, 1.2, 1.3 and this 4. And further, this one is divided into various modules that needs to be delivered. Now, if an individual will work on module 2, like 1.2, then on 1.1, and finally, what will happen as a package? We will be getting this module 1. Similarly, for module 2, 3 and 4. Now, what is the advantage of doing all these things? By doing all these things, resources will be allocated to each and every component. Like resource can be allocated to module 2 and in this module 1.2, in turn, after its completion, it will be integrated further to its other parts, and thereby the whole product can be delivered within a particular time frame. So, this is required. So, this was for the WBS, which is a noun oriented. Similarly, as we have discussed, we can also do this PBS, which is product breakdown structure. Here, we are decomposing the products like requirement analysis, stakeholder identification, designing, prototype, development. Level 0, 1, 2, and in this format, whole of the WBS can be created. By the help of the WBS, we can easily overcome the major issue, which was the time constraint. The second issue, which was the budget constraint, and finally the third issue, which was resource allocation to the users as well. So, if the resources are properly allocated, the project can be delivered on time, and by this, the manager, the project manager can also have a check that when the product is going to be delivered, if there is any product or any module that is falling behind the time schedule, then proper measures can be taken for it. So, this was for the PBS, and this was for the noun oriented WBS, which is a deliverable oriented also, we can say, in the form of the modules it is going to be done. So, this is how the activities are planned and what are the basic requirements of planning and how these planning of the activities play a crucial role in identifying all the modules. Thank you.